meditation, I always had this inclination that, how can we transform this world? How can we make this world a little better? And how can we make individuals not fight for? As a child, I always wonder how come the adults, just don't know how to not fight, how to be nonviolent, how to love each other. And there were only a few individuals that I'll find which are loving, and I said, why can't other people be like that? And I always wonder, what will change them? What will change them? And that was a burning question as I grew up. It's like, what would change people to be nice, to be loving, to be kind to each other? And I did not have enough vocabulary to even express my frustration with the word. And the science that I learned in the school education, Jagmeet said, today what we learn in the schools is not sufficient for us to learn to love each other, to have a better understanding of who we are. And when I came to the United States for my profession, I came across a word called science of spirituality. And that's how I came to see my meditation teacher. And I had no idea what meditation does. I thought it was a way, close your eyes and you go somewhere, who knows where. And I was like, I was afraid to close my eyes and I don't know if I could come back, what if I don't come back? So that's why I never closed my eyes with the fear that something might happen or I don't know what I'm getting into. But when I learned the science of spirituality through my teacher, Samarchandra Singh Ji Maharaj, the technique that we've been talking about is a way of inverting our attention to see ourselves who we are. And all of a sudden, the doorway to transformation started beginning. And I thought, wow, that's great. If I can transform myself, and I've been frustrated with why this politician cannot be better, or why this leader cannot behave properly, or how can we change this country or that country? And well, it all begins with ourselves. If I can transform myself, in fact, deeply thinking about the root causes of pain and suffering, you reflect that as an individual, we really cannot change anyone else. I think that was one line I heard in the last talk as well. It's just impossible to change. It's so hard to change our own self. It's still possible to change ourselves, to transform ourselves. Transforming others is just nearly impossible. Forget about other people, other religion, other country. We cannot even transform our own brothers, spouses, children. And try your teenagers if you want. Two teenagers grew up. They're still growing up. Fortunately, I just learned this technique where you just become a role model and example. If you become an example of what the word should do, then the word listens. Peace begins with me. And it is a very courageous act to go within. It's not easy. Because you're faced with the biggest monster in the universe, that is your own ego. Because that doesn't tell you there is no problem in me. I'm just a perfect human being. I look at the mirror, it looks perfectly the nicest person in the universe. Haven't you looked at your mirror yet? And you look around and say, oh, look at this problem, and this person has this issues, and this person cannot control their anger, and this person is a big ego, and this person is very violent. And we'll look around and we blame others. And actually, if you look in spirituality, if you reflect on your own true nature, you see the world as who you are. And it's the state of your spiritual awareness. And with the help of the meditation practice, one becomes spiritually aware of the perfection that lies within all of us. No exception. As human being, there is a center in us which we call soul, spirit, and there's so many terms, and that's why it's confusing. That's why we call so many divisions of religions and different philosophies. But truth is truth. It's a scientific truth that we're spirit. Thing that cannot be described in the words, that can be only experienced by going within. And once you experience the tremendous power that lies within us, the power of soul, the tremendous transforming power that exists within us, that tells us who we are. We're not just a helpless human being who depends on others to be happy. We are the source of light to the universe. If we experience that cannot be taught to anyone, has to be experienced. And I'm so glad, and my wife is a teacher, and she teaches meditation to children. And we have seen over the last 15 years that my experience with meditation and talking about it, we've seen the power of meditation transforming little children. They're so powerful that they pull their parents to come to meditation. They said, you need to come to meditation. And if you're not going, I'm going, I'm walking on the street. We have examples like that when the children walked out of the parents and said, I'm going to meditation. We're talking about authenticity in the press. The children were really authentic. And their parents were embarrassed to say, look, yeah, I know we wanted to go to the birthday party or this thing or that thing. We need to meditate. And the experience of individuals connecting to this power of the source, that the universe is so vast. Do you have any idea how big this universe is? But you know what? Each one of us is a universe within ourselves. We just have to go and experience it. And then we realize that all the power that created this universe is all sitting within us, latent. We're just covering it with our ego and our false understanding that something outside has to change. But once we go within, we become the source of the transformation. And in order to unite all the humanity, we're talking about reconciliation, understanding, bringing the whole world together as one, we need to be one with our true self. And that can only happen when we invert our attention within. There is no other way to experience that. You cannot experience that peeking into somebody else's eyes or reading lots of books on the library. Of course, all of that will give you understanding that please go within and experience it. But once you transform, you notice what you start doing in the universe. You start spreading that love, starting with your family, starting with your neighbors. You start giving to your community, at your workplace, at your meetings with your school parents. Who knows? You start meeting the people who automatically are inspiring. You start finding connections that you never thought were possible. I just happened to give a talk in the state capital of Minnesota. In my wildest dream, I could not even think about being there and talking to people. But it's not that people respect that you have to have some powers. You have to have the connection with your own source. And once you do that, you can transform the world one circle at a time, starting with your family, starting with yourself first, starting with family, changing the community, and the communities transforming in different places of the world. You cannot transform the whole world. Individuals in the world can start transforming, and you already see here in this conference, individuals bringing their peace, bringing their transformation, and spreading to the world. And we